What's up, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen? Day Traders Closet Swing Traders. Hope you guys are doing absolutely fantastic. Hope you guys are feeling good. We got Albert in the house. Good morning to you. Good morning to Andy, Bill, Brad, Brian, Christopher. Good morning to you. We got Dragon. Good morning. We got Jimmy the Stick. Good morning to you. Joe, Keith, Kevin, Lauren, Lucian, Martina, Michelle, Rick rocking with us. Good morning to you. Good morning to Rob, Ross, Tim, Virginia. The squadron is here. All my people out in YouTube land, all my lurkers in the background. I'm not gonna say nothing all day. It's okay. I still love you. Hit that like and subscribe button, but cancel the tariffs. That's it. Cancel those tariffs. That was what the court decided Friday, and I was curious. I was like, it's an interesting time to put that out right before a 3-day weekend to make the ruling, and then I was like, I wonder if that's enough time for just the bulls to say who cares and just buy up the market, but. Does not look like it. And I think we just had some news too where uh, I think Nvidia can't sell chips again to China. Something along those lines just came in like 12 seconds before I got on the mic. So I'm not really quite sure, but some chip news today as well. Interestingly enough, remember like the first narrative where if we implement tariffs, the market's going to crash. And then we did implement the tariffs and then we hit all-time highs. And then we cancel the tariffs or supposedly cancel the tariffs, and then the market drops. It's supposed to be the other way. That's what the media told me. But now the media is telling me that the tariffs are canceled. However, still we still collect tariffs, so nothing has actually changed. And then my guess would be the decision probably ends up going to Supreme Court, which I think Trump has a pretty good team on the Supreme Court and probably gets ruled in his favor. And this whole story of tariffs are probably just going to be a nothing burger eventually. So maybe the countdown to buy the to buy the market. We got can you do Bull, Tesla, TTD coin? We got some tickers coming in. Of course, we'll cover those. For today though, since we have a brand new month, let's see where we're opening. We got 4 months in a row, all bullish. Talked about this like, was it Friday? I was like, I kind of want to buy some kind of puts, get some kind of protection. I didn't do it this time. So we'll see if we get some rally back, and then we'll see if the market lets me get some protection, some hedging. Other than that, about roughly halfway through the monthly candle, so not terrible. We also, on a weekly basis for SPY, we're just coming landing in some kind of support for today. It is a gap and go on a weekly basis, kind of breaking down about 3 months, about 3 weeks of some bullish buying. So not a great spot to be in, but definitely still a little bit of support there on the weekly. And then our daily chart also shows us that we have a little bit of support right below us as well. The first support I'm looking at is somewhere around 630, 635. The one right after that, 635.99. If we do start breaking that down, that would be probably heading a little bit lower to 631.90. After that, we got about 628.90, and then another big one would take us into 621.70. Definitely some room to the downside. Not really breaking quite yet, although the last really high volume candle came in August 22nd, and we are opening under that. This is also a retest gap, so I expect probably a little, seems like panic sell beginning of the day. Usually at the beginning of the month as well. I think we do get an opportunity to buy puts eventually at 644.63. That's where I'd be looking. I think eventually we get back up there. Usually beginning of the months, we have all of the 401ks buying stocks, buying shares, mutual funds buying stocks, buying shares, and that usually gives us a beginning of the month little pump. So I think eventually we will get back up there. I don't think I'd want to go short here yet. We're down decent amount and support very, very close. First resistance to watch for is 639.11. We'll see if we get above that. If we can, I think the next spot will take us into about 642.23. And then maybe tomorrow, Wednesday or Thursday, it's a short week, 644.63, I think is a spot to try to get some better risk reward if we can get back up there. We will see. I don't know. It's a down day. Forgot what those feel like. Qs, I think a little bit rougher. Also, SPY does have a lot of the, and I don't think we're seeing a flee from the market. We have some names. I mean, Pepsi up 5%, but they do have a catalyst. coming in there as well. You have Elliott buying them up, but a lot of the dividend plays, a lot of the safety play names, they're still pushing a little bit higher. They still look like they're not falling apart as much as some of the tech. So I think we have a little rotation. I don't think we're fleeing from the markets, but we got Qs. Again, tech I think is going to be one of the weaker sectors today. This is a retest gap from Friday. However, if we do buy this up, watch for 563.52. That's our first resistance. If we get above that for today, next spot we'd be looking is 567.32. To the downside, we still have quite a bit of room. We're opening, I think, right under a little bit of support, maybe right at a little bit of support back from July 22nd. So if that breaks down, we could see a decent drop. And again, maybe not today, but 555.14 Qs look a little bit weaker than SPY for today. Already kind of breaking some key levels. Take a look at Bitcoin, BTC, USD. Bitcoin is still in this 109, 110 area. So again, just the area we talked about should be a little bit of support. Uh, but we're just hanging out. A little bit of a high wave candle. That high wave, a little bit troublesome. We never really got back to what should have been support. Our first support, 110, 163. We got there today, gave that right back. Watch for some kind of support around 108, 968. If we start breaking that down, you have another support, 108, 500. But I think now you have a little bit of a bull trap, banging its head on that 100 plus, coming in, retesting that last known support. And I think the downtrend probably continues on Bitcoin from the looks of it, but we'll see if that support 108.968 somewhere right around there holds. If not, we got lower to go on Bitcoin. CRTC. Mm, CRTC. I have never looked at this one. X Trackers US National Critical Technologies. Is this one gapping? Unless it's like a crazy gap that's not even on my chart. I don't see any crazy move. Volume looks very sporadic, so some days just much heavier. Oh, CRTO. Okay. Yep. That will make a difference. I was gonna say. I still don't know this one. Looks like an ADR. Is this Chinese? Asian stock? It's ADR, so we'll see. Nice little base it's put in. Again, some of the Chinese names. Neo did report earnings this morning. They came in with a miss, but still kind of holding fairly well. Baba, still nice little push from Friday. They were up a little bit more today. If this is an Asian company, I'm not sure specifically where this one's from, but ADR represents uh, international. So other than it, yeah, good base. If international is starting to kick off and stay strong, this one looks decent. I would look at your first resistance on this one somewhere around 25.02. If you could get past that, get some closing past it, then I think we take out of this little base. The other thing I'd be watching for is if it does not get closes above it, and then we start getting a little bit of a pullback. I could see that happening down to like $24, and then we make that break. That would also be a nice little inverted head and shoulders to make that move. So we've already kind of went 23 to 25. Doesn't look like a big major move. But that little bit of a pullback would give us that inverted head and shoulders. So maybe I don't see anything too crazy today. It is gapping up a couple pennies, not nothing too nutty. But for a long-term swing, maybe. I'm not sure about the long-term buy. I don't know too much about that specific company. All right, we got Hood and Palantir. Hood is a gap and go to the downside, also opening into a little bit of support, so I wouldn't get too jumpy on the short side of things yet until you break down $100, really about $124. But once you start breaking that down, then I think you have more room to the downside, which take us to about 98.21, and then probably an eventual pullback into this 94.15 to 92.85 range. So not looking too good, but it does have a little bit of support. Um, you do have some buying. So just looking at the fact that it's a green candle, technically it's a gap and go. However, most of that was inside day. It was also a retest gap there as well. So I don't think I don't think you're really trapping buyers too much on Hood, but just opening into a little bit of support. Some of those shorts probably closed out. I think this one probably small drop it open, and then I think this one probably rallies, but that would all be negated if we start breaking that $100 24 cent range. PLTR. Also, a little bit of a rough day. Probably a little bit more rough than Robinhood. And again, unless Bitcoin starts to really crumble, I think Hood probably could stay relatively strong. Where most tech is getting a little bit wrecked today. I would have liked to see this one hold 153.31. Does look like we're opening underneath that. And next support, we get some more room to the downside. It's gonna be a coin, probably a coin toss for me to play this one at open. First little support, 149.71, 148.84. I think this one does come down a little bit further. You do have technically a retest from Friday as well. Why I say coin toss is I don't know. I really don't get great risk to reward, bullish or bearish. But how I would like to play this one is if at open they do buy this thing up to 153.30. That would be my spot to attempt to go short. If we start breaking through 153.30, you might get a full on retest into like 156.69. But yeah, if they buy it up, get me a little bit better risk reward to the downside. I think I could appreciate that a little bit more. Otherwise, if I'm going short again, it's gonna have to be a tight setup. I'm kind of taking that little extra risk, and then I'm kind of hoping that this 148.74 breaks down. Next target 147.19 for Palantir, so has some room. We got Bull, Bull. Not a tremendous Friday. We've seen this a few times. This one should have been looking to hold some kind of support, $13.37. Does not look like that's going to be open. It is a retest gap, so maybe this thing could get bought up a couple pennies. Otherwise, that's weak sentiment. I think your really big support on this one is if you get down to this $12.64. So I think right now, and you can have some support before it, but I think that $12.64 has to hold. I think the closer you could buy it to that, the better. Um, this also could be a little. I'm trying to see if there's a wave count. Not really yet. On this pullback, maybe this is your one, two. That means we're still in now three, four, five. When we come down, retest that. I don't really want to see that. That would imply a little bit of weakness, but maybe your double bottom rolls in there. Other than that, somewhere in this zone should hold. We're just kind of far off from it, but getting getting close. If this thing again, if this one wants to get bid up first and then break down, I think you have a short for today. I don't think I'd be going long quite yet unless you got a little bit more push to the downside. Tesla. Tesla kind of oddly holding up a little bit better than some other names. Okay. Let's see. We still have the trend where we are making higher lows and higher highs in this smaller move. That's still bullish. We still have all the moving averages stacked bullish. That's decent. We do have a lot of room down into our next support. Next support I got is 321.20. Again, there's a retest gap. I probably don't want to go short right at open. You would be also be kind of getting met with that 50 EMA. I think if you're going to try this one, if we don't do a full on retest would be somewhere around this 332.88 if the market looks weak and we're not going to get there. Looking for about 329.83 is the first spot I would look to go short on Tesla. Already got that one kind of high on the list. But yeah, like I said, that should be a really, really good resistance at this point. And if we could get bid into that, that's probably where I would look to go short. I don't think we get that full on retest today unless something crazy happens in the market, but we'll see. All right, let's see. We got TTD. TTD. Gapping down. Really big support. 52.68. I kind of, if I wanted to really be a little bit more bullish, maybe we open at like 53.27. That's much more shot of a retest. Now we're gonna have to climb through that 53.27. If we could do that, you'd probably get your bigger retest into 54.58 today. Otherwise, I'd expect chop. I don't think this one gets crushed today. Got really, really strong support. 52.74, look for that to be your support. If that starts breaking down, you got one more really, really good support around 52.26. If all that breaks, you start to open up the field a little bit, and your next target is like $50.77 to the downside. But it looks to me like we're just going to chop around. I don't know if we have crazy momentum. If we stay in this range, if we start breaking either one of that support resistance, then it puts in a little bit more, especially the support side, to play that one bullish for that retest gives you a little bit more upside. Otherwise, you're getting hammered with really, really good support to the downside on that one. I think there was one other one that you wanted, Coinbase. Coin. Coinbase. Looks extremely rough. Uh, to me, this bigger pattern looks a lot like a bear flag. So if this is our flagpole, something like this would be our bear flag. Looks like we are breaking that down today. The only thing that I can see, well, two things. Be careful at open on so far just about everything. Don't be so quick, I don't think today. Let the markets take a breath in either direction. But we do have that retest from Friday. So you have some people already waking up that were sitting over a 3-day weekend to the short side. They are slightly profitable. You do have a psychological level of support, all the way down to like 297.45. Again, I wouldn't put too much weight on it. If this thing could get bid up, the first spot I would look to take advantage of the short, see if we get a little higher into that $300.82 range. If we start breaking that, be careful or close that short out. Probably get you to like 303.72, 305.05, and if we close in that range, we're right back inside of this bear flag, which could close either way. But that's where I would look to really want to take a short 305 zone. 303 is an interesting spot, and then if we could even get bid up to $300.69 would be a pretty okay spot to look short. Why I think this is a decent short, a little bit longer term, is we do only have one support, 292.40. So if this bear flag actually breaks down and it's just not some kind of trap like they did on August 20th, um, we've been here already. This 292 twice, definitely once. Got close on this August 6th candle. So if we look to break that down, there's really nothing left until your target of somewhere around 269-ish, 260, yeah, about 269.23. The only thing really that could get in your way is that 200 EMA, somewhere around 273.42. That's still a lot of room to the downside. So I'd watch this one for continued short. I'd see if you get some kind of a bouncing again. Just be careful that open move. Don't get too triggered. Don't try to take that loss before you take that win. We got MCD. Mickey D's. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Uh, they are loving it today. They are loving it. A little bit of bid up, looks different than the rest of the market. Probably falls into, again, all of these, even though this is a gap up, it's still a retest gap from Friday. I think if you're going to buy this one, I would be buying it under two conditions, maybe three. One of them being that you just want to own McDonald's long term. I don't think you have crazy good valuation, but I get it. They're steady company. They have a divvy. Okay, it's a little too high price. I think there's better opportunities. Um, or you're buying this one because you think short term market wants to fall apart and or pull back significantly. If you think that, then owning the McDonald's, owning the AT&Ts, owning Coca-Colas, Pepsis, those would be companies you'd be looking at to weather the storm at least of the tech pullback if it comes in. Other than that, we've looked at a lot of tech companies. So I'm using McDonald's as an example, but we looked at a lot of tech companies that seem like there's probably a little wiggle room for a retest. We'll see what actually happens. And then the MCDs will actually drop on the tech rally before tech starts to break. So look for a pullback in some of these names, but it does look a little bit different. First spot, I think, to look for some support, somewhere around 312.47. Otherwise, really, really good support is if you get all the way back down to 311.53 for McDonald's. Sometimes it's decent to trade, but kind of need a specific news story a lot of times for McDonald's. Baba. Baba, really fantastic Friday. That came off of earnings. Still hanging out fairly high on Baba. My one concern, I guess, with going long here would be we're opening below yesterday's candle. So we have 8 more minutes till this market opens. If Baba wants to climb up and start to open above 134.83, then maybe we get that continuation. Otherwise, really good rally. If we don't if we don't want to open above that price, then we're probably just sitting through some inside day consolidation and then maybe tomorrow look for the next breakout. Shopify. Mm-mm-mm. Hanging into a little support. Last hurrah before a bigger pullback. How many times have we seen this since April where it's like, okay, this company is really not specifically shop, but companies in general, like crazy gap down, you get some panic, and by the end of the month, you're green. You're like, what? Look for some kind of support around 136.48 for Shopify. You do have, I think, one level of resistance ahead of you as well, which would be 137.29. So in that zone, probably not going to touch Shopify. If we start breaking 137.29, I think you have a decent amount of room on the table to the upside, 139.43. Or if we do get a breakdown and some candles closing, that would look similar to probably this. So if this is our support, you probably see that breakdown, gets bid up, and then this is where I'd go short. If that happens, you got a lot of room down to that 128 mark, 128, and then if that one breaks, you got just above 120, you got about 126.50-ish as your next target. So decent amount of room if our last final support actually breaks down. So we'll see what happens on shop, but I think it's worth watching. I don't think it's worth trading at open. I'll let the move happen first. Tell me which way this thing wants to go, and then I'll play the momentum afterwards. Dell DE, unless you're just going aggressive and just trying to buy it off support. Dell is also kind of looking a little bit rough. Definitely lots of volume. Pretty decent sized gap down again. They did have good earnings, so that makes sense. You got a beat by 1.24% on earnings per share. You got an extra 759 million in revenue. But you also had a inflated price running into those earnings, and they're getting clobbered on it for now. Not a great open retest gap. I think this one again. Would I go short or long here? If I had to choose, I think it gets slightly more edge to the bullish direction. Playing this fade. I would like to see it come down a little bit more. Specifically, looking for about 118.52, and then a better spot would be somewhere around this 117.30. So somewhere in that range gets me better risk reward. Otherwise, this is looking a little bit like a fade. I don't know if we, again, if this market wants to have a rough day, I don't know if we hit this 122.35, which would be the retest from Friday's VPOC. Other than that, you got 120.54 in the way, and then you got 120.91 as well. So a little bit of resistance higher. You're smack in the middle, I think, between the first resistance, first support, just being a retest gap. If I had to flip that coin, I'd be leaning to the bull side, but I really would want this thing to drop a little bit more before I get too involved. Gold is moving, says Bijal. Gold is gapping up to all-time highs. It is and Bijal says crypto and gold, but it is interesting. Crypto not really having the same effect, but you're getting a little bit of safety play. So gold should be a safety play. Where's TLT opening today? Out of curiosity. TLT down. There's still some concerns about that the long-term bond rate. Short term has dropped a little bit, but TLT rates, longer term rates still holding longer, and then you have some safety coming into gold. So you might have some little. And we do hear from Jerome Powell this week as well. We'll see. Woof. WOOF. We got chilling for now. Pre-market is down. It is a technically a gap and go, still inside day candle. Look for some kind of support on Wolf around 395. So as long as we can hold that support, I still remain kind of bullish. Although I think today probably with that inside day candle, maybe a little bit choppy. What I don't like is this is your first real resistance, $3.98, which we closed a penny above it. So again, kind of a do nothing situation for me. $3.98. If we get above it, your next target higher would be 428. I think you got a good move. I think if we start breaking down and get some candles that close past this 395, your next at least little support is 384, but we've been there before as well. And then maybe you see a little bit more of a fuller pullback to like 352. So where we're sitting now, probably untouchable for me. Move a little bit first, and you do have some decent room on both sides. Again, I'd be leaning bullish because that is a really good gap. You are still above that support. You're almost right at it. So maybe a quicker move at open. See if it holds. We got SoFi. Lucian says this seems like typical response to uncertainty from the markets. Yeah. Yep. Gold, divvy stocks, safety stocks, tech gets clobbered. Like when you see the pull out of the market, when you see everything, the safety names, gold dropping, you got maybe not gold, but tech, safety, everything's healthcare, everything just starts dropping. Now you have an exit from the market. Right now we still just have a rotation, so I think it's just a little panic. Again, the story happened with the tariffs on Friday. That gave everybody 3 days, but CNBC was playing reruns of Shark Tank or something. I don't know what they're doing. So now they finally get the opportunity to talk about it, and they've been kind of pumping it all morning. So that's going to be your narrative until we get some kind of decision. And I think the decision goes the way of Trump. I think the tariffs stay. I think overall in the bigger courts, they probably rule in his favor, I would assume. But you got to have something to freak the markets out. You got to get those weak hands out, and then eventually that will set us up for that next leg. But we could see some pain short term. So far, not a great open. Again, kind of in no man's land at this open. So to the downside, from Friday, it's a retest gap. However, inside day there, I think you probably have a little bit more momentum bearish than bullish on SoFi, especially at these elevated prices. Otherwise, target support $24.20. That's only going to give you about 32 cents to the downside, unless that starts to break. Longer term, you're gonna have some support in between it, but otherwise you have 23.24 is your next spot on SoFi. And then we're looking for some kind of resistance today at 25.04. Somehow, not sure, but that is the morning bell. So make sure you guys on YouTube land hit that like and subscribe button if you've not done so already. Other than that, you guys are incredible. Stay safe and